So, about that video I released this morning. I actually, I actually had it in mind to do a more abbreviated, low-key version of it. And then I said, could I get the parts where I was interacting with myself to work? I had actually been trying to see if I could do the parent trap effect, but I don't have enough room here in the kitchen to do that. So it got kind of out of control. um, I did get a comment saying they noticed it was a bit high church. Yes, I am a bit of a high church believer myself. I don't see high church or low church as being problematic in any sense. It's just I lean more high church. Although I did edit the language I used. In fact, these are my prompt sheets. And the original prompt sheet was just the part of the Great Thanksgiving starting from after the Sursum Corda and up to right before the Lord's Prayer. Originally, that was all I was going to do, was read that off and then, hold up the elements and partake of them. It blew up. The text I used was one that I had progressively edited. And in its original form, it's basically just a hacked up version of the Rite One from the Book of Common Prayer. As for that little bit that I had right before the doxology of the Lord's Prayer, there's some history behind that. Apparently it goes back quite a ways, but it had gotten more and more developed and started including the Virgin Mary and the names of a bunch of saints and apostles and just got more and more overblown. And the Church of Rome cut it back to something pretty close to what I have back in '69. What I did was I took their '69 text and actually created a sort of reconstructed 1662 style English version out of various other sources. I could probably have actually created my own translation in that style. It didn't feel like going that way. If I had real EME to work with, I didn't want to have to create it. Because although I am certainly capable of creating EME, I could certainly sound like I'm writing Jacobean or King James English if I wanted to. But why make it up when you got the real thing? And that's basically what I did. Now, also something about the verbiage here is that it implies that at the time that the embolism originally started to come into use, which couldn't have been that long. It probably was around maybe the 7th, 8th century AD. Um, the understanding was that the final clause of the Lord's Prayer minus the doxology, they could have interpreted it, various sources say, maybe it should have meant deliver us from the evil one, but here, that interpretation's just not possible. Because after talking about deliver us from evil, they expand on it in a way that it's clearly talking about evil as a concept, not evil as an entity. As such, the note you see in some translations is say, or deliver us from the evil one, doesn't really seem to fly here. Also, it seems to suggest that the doxology is quite ancient, although probably not original, as evidenced by its absence in Luke. I'm not going to say that I think it's wrong to include it in Matthew. My own translation absolutely does include it there. But here it's actually given a bit stronger of a position. Sort of, like the Lord's Prayer is just the beginning of an even bigger prayer. I'm not sure how I really understand it, to be fair. Now, I wanted to use a different hymn at the end. The problem is the logistics, I guess, is the word I'm looking for, of small channel like mine trying to license stuff from a major copyright holder. I wanted to use Father We Thank Thee for This Planet, which, dating from the very early 2nd century, is probably one of the oldest extant Christian hymns in its original Greek. It was translated into English, I believe, around 1940 by F. Bland Tucker, and the rights are held by the Episcopal Church. I'm not sure how much I'd have to go through, or, just how far I'd have to bend over backwards to get the right to use it. So I substituted Bread of the World and Mercy Broken for it. I had a different tune, but I'm like, I'm not getting this to work. But I decided, I'll throw a curveball and make it interesting. If anyone noticed, that's the tune for I Am a Poor Wayfaring Stranger. There's actually at least one hymnal on hymnary.org where there's a scan of a page showing Bread of the World and Mercy Broken set to that tune. So I didn't come up with that idea. Though I was like, it's an interesting idea. So I thought I'd give it a little try. Yes, that was my own arrangement. Not exactly the best hymn arranger out there, but just thought, why not? A lot of that video was just, I just kept thinking, what if I did this? What if I did this? Would this work? And just, throwing things together, making new clips and whatever, and building around it. Until suddenly something that was just meant to be, a quick video on my cell phone. In fact, I took all the footage on my cell phone. Wound up spending about an hour working on it on my desktop. I didn't even mean to put all that effort into it. It happened. And all because, places around here were closing due to inclement weather. Which honestly, it's, like I said, I don't think the weather's necessarily that bad. But more that it's November. This isn't November weather. This is February weather. And some people might have been a bit blindsided by it. And, a lot of churches have their congregations lean a lot older than they ought to. The two ladies usually, the one lady who usually brings me to church and the one who fills in when she's not around, they're both my dad's age. I'm 42. My dad was old when I was born. He was almost my current age when I was born. So go figure, we're talking people in their 80s. And they're the average parishioner there. And, it ain't getting younger. Because a lot of us have, forgotten our mission and resting on our laurels, just assume the whole world or, everyone around us is Christian like us, or feel that, we should live and let live, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And that's how we get the rise of the nuns. Nones, not Nuns. Anyway, I've ranted a bit. Jesus freak out.